First thing I can do is start the recording. Welcome to the Buddha Joy Meditation School. We're going to work with a practice text that is ironically entitled First Week. Actually, it should be entitled First Lesson. So I'll just fix that right here. Boom! Now it's entitled First Lesson, just the way Buddha intended. So we're going to jump right into setting a realistic intention. And allow me to insult your intelligence. I'm sure two fully functional adults like you can read just fine, but I'm going to read to you. May each being practice Chenrezig's path of bringing mindfulness, insight, as well as love into our experience of mind, communication, body, and circumstance. Now, somewhere I'm supposed to have an image of myself floating about. Where did that get off to? Oh, the travails of this digital age. Let's continue. So, wherever you have people, you have some who are very, very rigid and some who choose to be flexible. And so I teach meditation from a very flexible paradigm. I don't expect people to believe in a whole slew of things. For instance, when we see this proper noun right here, Chenrezig, we see an asterisk. And over here we have an explanation of Chenrezig, an empowering archetype of an enlightened being who wisely uses his mind, communication, body, and circumstance for the benefit of all. Chenrezig is also known as Avalokiteshvara in Sanskrit, Huan Yin in China, and in Tibet, Kind Eyes, which is condensed from the more literal translation, he who notices the cries of the world. So, show of hands. How many people have seen Wizard of Oz? Okay. What was one of your favorite lines from Wizard of Oz?
Oh my gosh, I can't really remember.
Gail, how about you?
I'll get you, my pretty.
And you did a dog too. So we don't have to believe that there actually is a wicked witch of the West to be able to use that idea of the wicked witch of the West as a way of relating to other ideas. Ask any neuroscientist and they'll explain to you that we are hardwired by evolutionary biology to think symbolically and to emote symbolically. So the more symbols we have in our language, whether we're using metaphors or similes, the more we get things, maybe not intellectually, but viscerally in our bellies, where we feel things. And so whether we're referring to the Wicked Witch of the West or referring to the great and powerful Oz, who says, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. We don't have to believe in those things to still find benefit. And in Tantric Buddhism, every Buddha, real or imagined, is thought of having four aspects that represent the four ways that we relate to the world around us. We relate to the world around us in terms of our minds and our communication, our body, and our circumstance. And so the mind of, let's say in this case, the Buddha of compassion, is symbolized by a seed syllable. The communication of this mantra is symbolized by a mantra. The body of this Buddha is symbolized, artistically, and the circumstance is symbolized by a paradise. Whether or not these things are real or imagined, whether we believe in them or not, we can still communicate symbolically. Now, right now, this is kind of hypothetical. So let's jump straight into the specifics. And tonight what we're going to do is we're going to start off enhancing our love. So I want to quickly take some notes for you, and I'll be glad to send you the notes after class, providing I can read your email address. Arguably, the primary method of Buddhist meditation, not Hindu meditation or Taoist or Sikh meditation, but Buddhist meditation is kind of like a pendulum, swinging between the extreme of contrivance and spontaneity. Now, so let me jot that down. Most people get in trouble when they meditate because they jump straight into spontaneity and they have a miserable time. Their mind just goes berserk like a drunk dwarf. Just, woo! Just running amok. Like that little silver ball in a pinball machine. Just going all over the place, and we spend our time not learning from it, but fighting it, and that doesn't work well. So we start with the contrived meditations, and by the time we're done with that, when we slide into the spontaneous meditations, it's kind of like slipping into a warm bath at the end of a hard day. It's very easy. So by starting with the contrived meditations, my intention is to set you up for success. I'd have to be a villain to set you up for failure, and I'm just too wimpy to do that. The contrivance will be in two parts. First, we'll deal with love, and then we'll deal with the wisdom of letting go. Now, as I mentioned, humans tend to go through life relating things, either intellectually or as far as an aspect of communication, or physically or circumstantially. So we'll hit upon each of that. We're going to explore each of that coming up. Let's see, how do I want to do that? So, and by the way, I just want to set your mind at ease. When I'm talking about physical love, I'm not talking about blowing each other kisses. Basically, I'm talking about wishing others health. Because really, who says, damn it, I have a surplus of health? Nobody. Nobody ever says that. So having said that, let's jump right in. Now, let's begin by, it's been said that energy follows intention. And intention follows thought, and thought follows words. So together, let's recite this intention together. And I'm going to use what I call a triple chant, or triplet chant. I'll chant it once, and then we'll chant it together a second time. May each being practice Chenrezig's path of bringing mindfulness inside as well as love into our experience of communication, body, and circumstance. Now, before I actually, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh well, I guess my image is disappeared. It's gone. It's kaput. It's no more. It's gone the way of the dodo. Okay, what was that? Yep. So, now that we can all agree that my webinar platform is in fact weird, let's all chant together a second time. May each being practice Chenrezig's path of bringing mindfulness inside as well as love into our experience of mind, communication, body, and circumstance. So that's what we're doing. This is actually a very practical thing. We're not talking about never thinking anything. We're not talking about not emoting anything. We're just talking about taking whatever we're experiencing and finding a way to harness it to enhance our mindfulness, insight, and love. So for instance, how do we benefit from anxiety? How do we benefit from annoyance? Hopefully we'll find out very shortly. So we're going to go straight into the first exercise, the love training of the contrived leapover. In Tibet, in the Dzogchen tradition, they talk about tokal and trek sho, or leaping over and slicing through, which is very weird. I like the phrase contrived and spontaneous. So we're going to start with the contrivance. Now, let's see. Gail, could you please grab the two malas and hand one to Veth?
Yeah, easier said than
I was going to say thanks for not letting me get up.
done. I ain't growing out loud all day. Oh,
So,
both directions.
in some forms of Hindu meditation and some forms of Buddhist meditation, we pay attention to energy. The easiest way to guide our energy is by playing with our fingers. So that's what we're going to do right now. Let's see, let me check my notes real quick. So what you'll notice is right here are 3 different electives. Oopsie. And on a notepad or on your smartphone, they are, but on a notepad or smartphone, you'll write down which one you did. For instance, did you do the, gosh, this is really getting difficult, the mutable elective, or the fixed elective, or the cardinal elective? Tonight, we're going to play with the fixed elective, which is the middle one. So whenever we have a choice of those 3 things, tonight, we'll choose the middle one. Tomorrow morning, when you do your homework, you'll do the 3rd one. And then tomorrow night, when you do your homework, you'll do the 1st one. You know, you just keep circulating. And that makes sure that all your energies are met. And I'm sure as an acupuncturist, you can respect that. In fact, which is a lot of fun, is if we count the 2 meridians in the front and the back, there are 12 meridians, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in this system, we're dealing with 12 energetic permutations. Mm-hmm. So there's some harmony. Mm-hmm. There's some congruency. Having said that, we're going to count our mala right now with in a manner that accesses fixed water. We access fixed water by counting our mala upon our right middle finger.
Where do we start?
Okay, so for you, I'd say start at the big thing, the tassel. That's a good place to start. Any landmark will do. There's 4 landmarks on a Tibetan mala. So anyone will do. And because we're primates, we pull the mala, we don't push it. And we pull during the in-breath. Although you're counting with your right middle finger, you're going to be touching your left middle finger to its thumb. In the notation, it reads both middle fingers. That's how you know. Okay, let's continue. So, on the in-breath, we're going to silently and mentally recite an intention. May my mind now be as insightful as seed-free mind. So the basic idea is we want our minds to be insightful. Sounds great. Who doesn't want insight? But we have a simile, which is a symbolic reference to a Buddha's mind. So we could say, may my mind now be as insightful as a Buddha's mind. A Buddha's mind is symbolized by this syllable, free. Do you have any background by any chance in Reiki?
No.
No problem. Free is used also in Reiki. So, having said that, on the out breath, we're going to silently and mentally intone the very famous syllable Om, which rhymes with home. So let's do this one time together. Om. We're dealing tonight with a 6-syllable mantra, and we're first for the next 5 exercises, just playing with each syllable individually. And now, so we began with wishing good things for ourselves, because let's face it, we're fundamentally selfish. And it's through loving ourselves that we learn how to love those around us. Those around us would be each being of this place. May the mind of each being of this place be as insightful as seed-free mind. So our job is not to force ourselves to feel anything. We're just intending it. We're just willing it, which is completely different. Let's play with this right now. And the syllable we're going to play with is ma, as in the phrase mama.
Are we advancing this on the in-breath or the out-breath?
The in-breath. Ma. So Veth, when you come home tonight, you can turn to your husband and said, "We were intending that people become more insightful, and I thought of you, you dumb bastard." Veth, how could you say such a thing? Oh my goodness.
I used to talk that way, so I can't go back.
So, when you were a kid, did you ever watch movies with submarines on it, like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea or something like that?
Clearly.
Really? So, in movies, when there's a sonar scope, there's a small circle, and then a bigger circle, and then a bigger circle, and then a bigger circle. Well, we started off with the small circle of wishing insight for ourselves, and then we wished insight for everyone in our environment. Now we're going to push out to the third circle. May the mind of each being of this world now be as insightful as seed-free mind. Now, the insight we're talking about is not the wisdom to build a longer-lasting light bulb or to isolate the isotope. It's the wisdom of letting go, the wisdom of peace. And we wish it for all the beings on this world, whether they walk or crawl or swim or fly. All beings with a brain, all beings that move away from pain and try to move towards pleasure. Anything that can feel, we wish these good things for. And on the out breath, we intone knee, just like that joint between your femur and your tibia. Knee. Gail, earlier today we were talking about the Monty Python movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Do you remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we are the knights who say knee.
Yes.
And now we're the contemplatives who say knee. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. And now we're going to go Star Trek. May the mind of each being of each world, yes, even people with green skin and pointy ears, may the mind of each being of each world now be as insightful as seed-free mind. And on the out breath, we're going to intone pay. Born in the Philippines, did you study any Espanol?
A little bit.
Just
I was too young.
un poco? Okay. Poquito. See, you know more than me. Well, pay is just like in the phrase paycheck. But I'm using what I call transliteration, where the consonants are pronounced like English and the vowels are pronounced like Italian or Spanish or Portuguese. Let's jump in. One breath. Hey. So we just did 4 exercises of love, giving something very positive. And Veth, here's your quiz. What's the very positive thing we were giving to people or wishing for people?
Is there a right or wrong answer?
Yes, the answer is insight.
Okay.
We were wishing insight on people, as opposed to stupidity. America does not need more stupidity. We have a surplus of stupidity. We have a deficiency of insight. So now we're going to take a brief break from love and explore the idea of letting go, just for one exercise, just to spice things up. How could each mind be lucid, yet as non-graspable as a seed free of light? So for those 4 previous exercises, free was used as a simile, as something really, really positive. You know, insight. Now we're using it as something that's ungraspable. Like, last night was a full moon. And if we had a jacuzzi and we turned off the bubbles, we'd be able to see the reflection of the moon on the surface of the water. But even though we see it, we're not quite able to grasp it. So even though we can notice mind being perceptive and lucid, thoughts are still ungraspable. Now, we don't have to realize this now, but by asking this rhetorical question, we're sowing the seeds of wisdom in our belly, in our dantian. How could each mind be lucid, yet as non-graspable as a seed free of light? And on the out-breath, we're going to intone may. May. So, what is the value of insight? The insight that we're wishing for ourselves is the insight to help us deal with annoyance, the insight to help us deal with anxiety, with uncertitude. Are you, as someone who's read the Yellow Emperor's Medicinal Classic, did you also read the Tao Te Ching?
Yes.
Great! So then you remember that, or you may remember that the 3 treasures of the Tao are compassion, patience, and simplicity. And simplicity can be something as easy as the middle point between the extreme of contrivance and chaos. And that middle point is a place of centered spontaneity. From that place, you may have learned a little bit of Chinese in acupuncture school. You may remember the phrase wu wei wu, doing without doing. And so, where the best decisions make themselves. And instead of trying to puzzle things out with a balance sheet, we cultivate a center of spontaneity, and the right decision just becomes self-evident of its own. It presents itself. Kind of like a cat who decides it wants its head scratched. You know, if the cat doesn't want its head scratched, you can't find it. But when it wants its head scratched, it's all over you. It's tripping you. It's all over your ankles. Just like that. Now let's return to love. And we're going to deal with communication. And communication, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, is all about relationships. Our relationships are defined by our quality of communication. For instance, if you address your partner as sweetheart, that's a good sign. If you address your partner as smelly, that's not such a good sign.
I said that the other night.
That's like, you may not say that, but Gil thinks that once in a while. Okay, so on the in-breath, we're going to silently, mentally recite, may my communication now be as skillful as mantra speech. Skillful is the art of speaking without making people crying. Ever try to comfort a friend who's feeling down and they just feel worse? That's not skillful speech. So how do we speak in a way that quells the annoyance of others? How do we speak in a way that quells the anxiety of others? That's the fruit of skillful speech. And on the out breath, we're going to intone the syllable hung, which rhymes with rung, like rung of a letter. Ladder. Oh well, let's continue. Do you have any friends who may be Vietnamese or Thai?
Co-workers.
Because that NG sound is very popular in that portion, which is great if you've got something back here in your sinuses. And now, just like before, where you started with ourselves, and now we're moving into our neighbors, and wherever we're at, we can ask the question here, what's this place? This place is wherever we're at. Wherever we're sitting and meditating, that's this place. So in the in-breath, may the communication of each being of this place now be as skillful as mantra speech. And by the way, every man in your life can relate to this story. The one day out of every year that has the most arguments between romantic couples is Valentine's Day. How ironic is that? So let's play with this right now. And just as I mentioned, we just spent the last 6 exercising exploring individually the 6 syllables of the 6-syllable mantra. And now we're going to start connecting the syllables. We'll start off with just one. Let's do this right now. On the in-breath, may the communication of each being of this world now be as skillful as mantra speech. Obviously, dogs don't speak too much, but they communicate through body language. In fact, it's been explained to me that one of the reasons that of all the animals on the planet, dogs can maintain the most friendships between different species is that they are the best at perceiving nonverbal communication. So perhaps I can learn something from your dog next time I meet him. Next exercise, we're going to go Star Trek again. May the communication of each being of each world now be as skillful as mantra speech. If you want, this might be Donald Trump losing his cell phone and not being able to tweet things that enrage foreign leaders. So, who knows? Maybe something like that. So let's play with this right now. Om Mani. And just like before, we're going to take a quick break from all this love to explore the non-graspable nature of communication. Did you ever see the Mel Brooks movie, Young Frankenstein?
Yes.
Remember when Gene Hackman, playing the old hermit, was playing his fiddle? And that was the first time the creature experienced music. He was trying to pull it out of the air. And so the creature experienced the non-graspability of sound. Clearly, he was a contemplative genius. How could all communication be resounding, yet as non-graspable as a mantra of light? Do you like cats?
Yes.
The best thing about a cat is a laser pointer. They will lose their minds chasing the laser pointer.
It's mean.
Well, they think it's fun. It's good exercise. Try though they might, they never catch the red dot. Likewise, try though we might, we can't grasp communication, regardless of how painful it is or how pleasurable it is. It's very elusive. Let's play with this one right now. Om Mani Padme. And now it's time for, boy, this is an unfortunate word. We're now turning our attention to the body. May my body now be as healthy as Chenrezig form. Now, healthy is perfectly legitimate and perfectly appropriate. But you'll notice that next to the word healthy is a little tiny word or. And next to that or is a blank space where you can put whatever you want as long as it's positive. No fair trying to manifest a headache. That's just lame. So perhaps we could manifest peace right now, since we tend to feel peace, not just intellectually, but physically as well. So may my body now be as peaceful as Chenrezig form. Now, do we really know if there was a Buddha named Chenrezig? No, we don't. But it's an interesting, empowering image to play with. No one's ever seen a painting of a nervous Buddha. We see paintings of a peaceful Buddha, and so we can use this archetype as a simile to help us. Om Mani Padme. So exciting. We come to the next love exercise. May the body of each being of this place now be as peaceful as Chenrezig form. You might say, why isn't there an apostrophe S after Chenrezig? Didn't you graduate high school? And the answer is yes. Yes, I did. Well, we're creating a rhythm, a lingual rhythm that'll be more apparent in future classes. And by the way, our job here is not to become magical. We're not trying to become wizards. We're not trying to be Merlin the magician or Gandalf the Grey, although that would be terribly cool. We're not trying to force people into being peaceful. We're just choosing to intend that. If that's all we do tonight, it's kind of like doing a push-up or holding a plank pose. You're not really trying to push the earth. And if you were trying to push the earth, you'd be wasting your time. But by holding a plank pose, you are experiencing all kinds of muscular benefits. Likewise, by intending peace for all our neighbors, whether or not they feel peace, we are strengthening our capacity to love. Let's play with this right now. Om Mani, Padme Hum. And this is how they pronounce the six-syllable mantra in Tibet. May the body of each being of this world now be as peaceful as Chenrezig form. Om Mani Padme Hum. Quick taste of insight. May the body of each being of each world now be as peaceful as Chenrezig form. A little bit of love, got confused there. Om Mani Padme Hum. And now it's time for a sip of insight. How could each body be sensual, yet as non-graspable as Chenrezig's body of light? Om Mani Padme Hum. You've done 12 love exercises. Your heart is going to be so buff. Oh my goodness. 4 more exercises. May my circumstance now be as peaceful as Potala paradise. Once again, Potala is a Sanskrit word. It's the name of the paradise associated with the Buddha of compassion. It doesn't have to be real. It can be real. It can be imagined. The thing is, it's just a powerful symbol. Om Mani Padme Hum. How many years have you been practicing yoga, Beth?
Probably about 6 years.
So you're probably much better now than you were in your first 6 months. Likewise, I want to encourage you that the more you sit in meditation, the easier it becomes to sit in meditation.
My hips are very, very tight.
My hips are arthritic, so I completely understand. Let's continue. May the circumstance of each being of this place now be as peaceful as Potala paradise. Om Mani Padme Hum. By the way, you don't have to, but if you're interested, you can buy meditation cushions through the website off of Amazon, or malas like the one in your lamp through the website off of Amazon. You don't have to use the website. The website just makes it easier because we've scoured Amazon, so you won't have to. But I found that using the cushion really helps. May the circumstance of each being of this world now be as peaceful as Potala paradise. Om Mani Padme Hum. May the circumstance of each being of each world now be as peaceful as Potala paradise. Om Mani Padme Hum. They'll always ask me, when do we get to the silent meditation? The answer is 5th lesson. First 4 lessons third lesson. The first 2 lessons are just mantra meditation because that's easier. I want to set you up for success. So now, I talked about contrived being in 2 parts. 1 part love, and the other part wisdom. Now it's time for contrived wisdom. First, we're going to stick with a pattern you're already familiar with. How could each circumstance be appearing, yet is non-graspable as Potala paradise of light? Om Mani Padme Hum. So it's really cool. By playing with these 20 contemplations, we explored the conceptual, we explored the audible, we explored the sensual, and we explored the visual. The key to Buddha's wisdom practices is the wisdom of letting go. The next 6 exercises are going to help us in a contrived way explore the folly of not letting go. What's the opposite of letting go? Gail. Grasping, clinging, both synonyms will work in this instance. So we're going to explore the folly of clinging through the cunning use of rhetorical questions. Let's jump right in. What could I cling to if each world and its beings blissfully melted into rainbow light and now absorbed into my world? Om Mani Me Me Om. Now this is kind of grim, but astronomy teaches us that every sun eventually dies, and consequently so do its planets. The study of astronomy, the study of archaeology, the study of anthropology, the study of history is a study of birth and death. This is all very natural. So we're not wishing these to happen. We're just using this as a simile to help us explore the futility of clinging. Let's explore the next phase. What could I cling to if my world and its beings blissfully melted into rainbow light and now absorbed into my place? What's my place? Veth? Wherever you're at, that's your place. Remember the movie Buckaroo Banzai from the 80s?
No.
Wherever you go, there you are. Om Mani Me Me Om. What could I cling to if my place and its beings blissfully melted into rainbow light that now absorbed into my body? So imagine you're just floating in a vast, empty void. Om Mani Me Me Om. Some contemplatives who have had near-death experiences say that when they're dying, that's their experience. As their senses shut down, it feels like the world's just kind of collapsing into their body, which then seems to collapse into their mind. What could I cling to if my body blissfully melted into rainbow light that now absorbed into my mind? Om Mani Me Me Om. Although we do not die every night, and that's good, because how weird would that be? Most of us fall asleep every night. In fact, we fall asleep several times every night. When we fall asleep, we first fall into a thoughtless swoon, and then we have dreams, and then we wake up, and either we roll over and go back to sleep, or we get up and pad down the hall and go potty, and then we come back to bed. So we go through the cycle every night. And so this is something that we're already familiar with. Neurologically, it's already wired into us. What could I cling to if my mind blissfully melted into rainbow light that now absorbed into a vast, empty void? Om Mani Padme Hum. The next 3 breaths, we're going to play with this contemplation. What could I cling to if I now experienced infinite openness? When we're stressed, doesn't it feel like we're being compressed in all directions simultaneously? Doesn't our heart sometimes feel like there's a fist squeezing it? This is the opposite. This is infinite openness. Tough to feel stress when you're like, ah. Have you ever had like a great massage and they have to take you off the massage table with a spatula? Om Mani Padme Hum. Whoops, I ignored my own advice. Second recitation. Om Mani Padme Hum. Third and final recitation of the Contrived Chant. What could I cling to if I now experienced infinite openness? Om Mani Padme Hum. We're halfway done. And now we're preparing to answer the question we've been asking. What's it like to experience the non-graspability of mind? What's it like to experience the non-graspability of communication? What's it like to experience the non-graspability of our body? What's it like to experience the non-graspability of a circumstance? How do we do that? Well, in the early part of my monastic career, I was told to study, read. And I did. And I didn't know how to translate that into my meditation. And so I finally was given the pointing out instructions from an aging Tibetan named Bakatuku. Now, Bakatuku had a goiter, so he spoke like he was an aging jazz musician. He spoke like he was up all night drinking whiskey. And so I confided in him. I said, I've been studying Madhyamika for years. How do I meditate on it? And he said, just relax into what you are noticing. That's exactly what we're going to do for the next 28 breaths. On the in-breath, we're going to ask the rhetorical question, how relax into the awareness of this? And on the out-breath, as we intone Om Mani Padme Hum, we're going to physically relax as much as we can. Now I told you that we're going to swing back and forth between contrivance and spontaneity. The word this, the pronoun this, is our window into spontaneity. Whatever thought or emotion or memory or fantasy or desire or dread or sensation or emotion pops into our head, we don't push it away, we don't chase after it. We notice it, and then as we recite the mantra to the best of our ability, we relax. And as easy as that sounds, it can evolve us profoundly. Let's do this right now. We'll do it for about 14 breaths. If there's any questions, I'll entertain them, and then we'll do it for about another 14 breaths. Let's jump right in. Om Mani Padme Hum. By the way, it's time to switch our finger positions. We started with fixed water. Now we're going to Cardinal Air. We do that very simply by counting our mala upon our right index finger. A-OK. And with our left hand, the fingers relax into a neutral gesture like we're going to karate chop a ninja. You know, like you do. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Our job is not to push things away. If we feel something, even something ugly, embrace it, grab it by the lapels, and relax into it. Relax into our awareness of it. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Quick break. Any questions at this moment about this particular exercise? Okay. When we feel something really, really strong, something that we're tempted to push away or ignore, then we can add it. So if we're feeling annoyance, we can silently, mentally ask, how relaxed into the awareness of this annoyance? Or if you want to be really brave, how relaxed into the awareness of this hate? Or likewise, how relaxed in the awareness of this anxiety, or how relaxed in the awareness of this fear, or how relaxed in the awareness of this confusion. Whatever is taunting us, we embrace it. Like that smelly kid in kindergarten that no one else wanted to sit next to. Just embrace the stench. Om Mani Padme Hum. I kid you not, we had a kid in first grade who smelled like bacon grease. I don't know what his mother was putting in his hair. He smelled perpetually of bacon grease. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Me Me 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 And so you probably have just passed another landmark on your mala. You can coil it up right now, if you wish, and put it to the side. Just as we began our session by reciting a positive intention, let's also conclude our session with another positive intention. This one is just a little bit different. We're going to again use the same triplet chant, so let's chant it together. May each being so accomplish Chenrezig's path of mindfulness and sight, and love that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. Well, ask me, what's enlightenment? First I'll tell you what enlightenment is not. Enlightenment is not always having a peaceful emotion or a loving emotion. Enlightenment is being fully human and feeling every sensation, every emotion, every thought, every circumstance we're exposed to. But blending it with our mindfulness, insight, and love intention so powerfully that we're able to do it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. Gail, do you remember the 4 levels of mastery?
The second one's communication.
No.
Oh, that one!
By Abraham Maslow.
Oh. Contrived. No. I feel like I can see it, but I can't. No.
Allow me.
Go ahead.
May I jump in there?
Yeah.
May I feel this one? Okay. I'm going to put this in note form.
Yay.
Let's see. Hopefully you can see.
The first one, I'll get the other 3.
Clue.
Yeah. Because they're...
For instance, someone says Chenrezig, and you say Gesundheit.
Yeah.
And then that one is awareness of ignorance. Someone says Chenrezig, and you say, what's that? Tell me more. I'm curious. Huge difference between just going through life as a mocking fool or as opposed to someone humble and curious. Huge difference. The next level, the 3rd level would be Contrived Confidence. Ever see a kid learning to ride a bike and they're able to keep upright, but they are super wobbly. They're just all over the place. They're working really hard to keep that bike perpendicular. But when they're really good, they can ride a bike while singing a song, eating an apple, or maybe not even using their hands. So any skill can fit this paradigm. Any skill maybe start off as ignorance of ignorance, and then eventually becomes a habit that we're able to perform spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. That's the type of mastery, and it can be applied to mindfulness, insight, and love. And so that's not a supernatural thing. It's not a question of what sign you were born under, or whether you were born with a special blemish that looks like a symbol. It's just a question of finding a skill, a set of skills, a set of techniques to help us master insight, mindfulness, and love. And a question is often asked: why did Buddha persist in meditating after he attained enlightenment? So he could persist in enlightenment. Let's face it, if every day you hit yourself on the toe with a hammer, you're going to have massive trauma. If you stop hitting it with a hammer, your trauma will go away. If you work out every day, you'll be muscular. If you stop working out, your muscles will go away. So we meditate at least twice a day, every day, to cultivate those three things: insight, mindfulness, insight, and love. Would you please hand me that yellow pad so I can see if I can read the email address okay? Thank you. Oh wait, this is my one phrase in Tagalog. Sama lato.
Very good.
That's it. That's all I've got. That's it.
Thank you.
So, VETHJAN
V. My last name, JAVIER.
V JAVIER @gmail.com. Okay. Cool. Well, tonight I'll send you this video link and also the PDF text and these notes. And hopefully I'll see you next week.
Well, I'm working next week.
Okay. Do you work next Monday?
I work Monday and Tuesday next week.
Okay. Well, then persist, and then the Tuesday after that. Sound good?
Is there a video or something that if you're doing Tuesday?
Well, since you're my only student who's come to my Tuesday night class, what I'll do is I'll just wait until you're here, but I'll send you this video. In fact, I think I'll stop the video now because otherwise it would be just silly. Let's see, stop.